is, of course, a beautiful Wednesday morning, and you are still watching Morning Rush. Thank you so much for making us a part of your morning routine. Now, it is Wednesday, which means we are celebrating the women who are making moves in the entertainment space and changing souls one song or poem at a time. And I use this specifically because today my guest is a songstress. She is a composer. She is the queen of Mbira, Mbira. And she is also now a poet and published author. Her name is Hope Masike. Hi!
Hey, Candice.
Good morning.
I was enjoying just listening to you talking about
Listening about yourself.
Oh, wow.
You're like, oh, is that me? Oh, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good. You are this ball of amazingness. There's so much going on with you, and everything you do tends to just be so beautiful. Is that on purpose?
What a question. We all try that, don't we? We all try to live a purposeful, lucrative, a feeling legacy on earth. That's why we wake up every morning. We are all trying to do that. And I think the best we can do is to try the best we can. And I try the best I can every morning and every day.
Well, we appreciate the best that you can. It's definitely uplifting for a lot of us.
Oh,
now,
thank you.
We first met Hope as a musician, as a songstress, and then she evolved with time and became Mbira, and then she became the poet and the author. How did all these transitions come about in your life? I mean, did you always know this was where you were heading, or did it just flow through?
I suppose I always knew. I have that curse of the artist. Like, I've always believed, like if you look at our Shona traditional culture, art was art, and we did not have a word for art. I don't know if we had it and then we lost it, but as far as I know, we don't have a word for art alone. And it was not compartmentalized. We didn't have fashion design over there, and then pottery over there, and then music over there, and then different things. It was all a part of life. There were just things we did as a part of life. We didn't have the concert life where people sit down and listen to music. It was part of life. There was functionality to it, and all of it was one thing. So I've always believed in that. I was born an artist. I'm not doing poetry now because, I suddenly discovered I can write poetry and also poetry. There's a thin line between poetry and music. So it's kind of like I've always been doing poetry, just gave it a different form.
Right.
And I'd certainly say there's a lot more coming. As long as it's to do with art, I am there.
Yeah, I love it. Let's talk about some of the things that influence you. I mean, you're not just influenced by, of course, our different Zimbabwean cultures. You're also influenced by a lot of our African neighbors. The Francophone nations as well tend to inspire you quite a bit.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Why not? French sounds nice, but also there's Mozambique. When I was in school, I was part of, they called it Umoja Cultural Flying Carpet back then, when I was at Zimbabwe College of Music. And one of the major thrusts of Umoja was that you had to bring your culture. You'd bring something different. You couldn't be coming from Zimbabwe and then you sing R&B or hip hop. So we'd meet for like 2-3 weeks. We'd be in camp, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Norway, South Africa, and then we'd share our different cultures, and then have a huge concert at the end of the camp. While I was there, I learned a lot about Mozambican dance rhythms, South African dance rhythms. So it's really anything to do with Africa, and you cannot exclude the Francophone, of course, because there's Anglophone, Francophone, and Lusophone. Lusophone, I'm getting there because Portuguese sounds nice also. So as long as there's time to do all of that, I'd like to learn as much as I can about African cultures, harness them, and create fantastic stuff with that knowledge.
You're definitely a very busy woman.
I try.
Yes,
They say an idle mind is the devil's workshop. You don't want it.
Talk us through a day in Hope's life.
Like today, I had to wake up so early to be here. But ordinarily, I don't wake up this early for work. I would wake up early for other things. I try to do some kind of body movement, yoga. If I am feeling inspired enough, then I jog. But not every day, but I try to do it most days. And then I also like to drink a lot of water, and the best time to do that is in the morning before you get busy with the day. So I try to drink a lot of water. From then on, anything and everything can happen in my life, from interviews, rehearsals, meetings. I know a lot of people, when they're talking to artists, they think they can just phone you and be like, where are you? Let's hang out. Or where are you? Let's have a meeting and things like that. We actually get busy too. Especially with rehearsals, meetings, those have to be a constant.
Everything has to be scheduled.
Yeah, and it has to be scheduled. So I think that's my normal day. And then in the evening, I wind up by having a good meal. Usually it's the best meal of the day or the most organized meal of the day because you're done with everything, either with myself most times or with a friend, and then sleep.
Do you cook?
I do. All African girls cook. I haven't met one who doesn't.
No. All African girls cook, yes, but some do it more deliberately than others. So, like, I'm really just, I want to get into my kitchen and utilize whatever's in my space.
I try to eat cooked food as much as possible because I also try to avoid a lot of processed food. So I try to cook as often as possible. Yeah, but you get tired of your cooking also sometimes.
Exactly. That's why I asked, do you cook? Because and especially if you're cooking for, now Hope, you have a very fascinating love affair with Mbira.
Yes.
How did you move into learning it? How did you decide this was my partner of choice in this musical journey?
So in fact, traditionally, most Mbira players were taught by their father or uncle or someone in the family. You grew up with Mbira in your family, then you would be taught, or you'd just learn. For me, it was a bit different. I didn't learn Mbira that way. For me, it was very academic. I went to music school, and then I started learning Mbira. Before that, I had met a lecturer's friend who had started teaching us Mbira also. So it was very academic for me. And then most of my Mbira playing I learned at the Zimbabwe College of Music. So now when I started playing Mbira, the very first time with this lecturer's friend I was talking about, he asked us why we wanted to learn Mbira. And I was very clear that I wanted to make money with something that's my heritage, something that my ancestors left for me, something that just defines me. Wherever I go, it's like, this is who this person is. Yeah, I was very clear with that. So I fell in love with Mbira because of that, primarily. And then also Mbira sounds really beautiful. It's so soothing. You can sit over there with your Mbira and have a conversation with it and, and be friends and talk about a lot of things together, write a lot of songs with it. It's one of the best things to learn an instrument, I tell you, not just Mbira. So yeah, there's also that natural but very beautiful relationship with Mbira. And then I fell in love with it because I have another friend who says, chipo chako ngachukukwidze ndege.
I was about to ask that your best friend has actually taken you across the world. How is that?
Yeah, so the friendship becomes even stronger because you're together many times and we all want friendships. Yes. So it's a friendship that's really bringing a lot of positivity in my life that just solidifies the friendship. Also, Mbira is one of the easiest instruments to be friends with because you can carry it anywhere. It's so portable. When I travel, it's even my hand luggage. I don't even have to check it in or anything like that. So it's all those things about Mbira that make it a beautiful friend.
I love that. I love hearing that. Now, I just wanted to go a little bit personal. You've recently been sharing publicly your experience with endometriosis. That definitely has to have taken a toll on you as a person. How have you been working through it, the bits and pieces that we don't see on public, the bits and pieces that you don't share?
Yeah, so it's not endometriosis, it's actually fibroids.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and there's a difference.
There's a difference, yes.
Which I cannot explain now.
No, there's a difference. So the fibroids,
the growths
and cysts inside your uterus and all that. And the endometriosis has some of those elements, but a little more on the extreme and severe pain side.
Yeah, so I hear. Yeah. So as women go through a lot, when they say women first, what's the word? Ladies first. When they say practice things like opening doors for us and stuff like that, it's not just coming from nowhere. We go through a lot. Whatever age, by the way. So fibroids, yeah, they were quite tough. And the thing with fibroids is these growths feed on your blood primarily, and then they feed on anything else that you're eating. I've recently started trying to gain weight, but before that there was no way I was gaining weight because there were things that were eating anything I was eating. And especially because they feed on your blood, then you get, sometimes it can be so detrimental, it gets to being anorexic. Even if it doesn't get to there, but you're often tired. Like you wake up tired and you're supposed to be starting the day. Because it's also like you're carrying this load, you're as good as pregnant. You're carrying this load with you every day and everywhere you go. Yeah, so it was tough. But I've always believed in turning lemons into lemonade. So I wrote a very fantastic poetry book, my very first one. It was kind of based on that. A lot of the poems were talking about that. And, you know, journaling is very, very good for distressing. Yeah. So that helped me a lot. So from the experience, I came up with a lovely book. And my album was also based on a lot of it. Yeah, so that's the story of fibroids. I'm past that. If they come back, then again, we start the cycle again. Yeah, but yeah, that's the story of
We're glad to hear that something beautiful came out of it, of course, as always. Now, very quickly, in a nutshell, something's going on tomorrow.
Yes.
What is that?
I have this fantabulous concert for you. I had another concert last month, which was hymns on Mbira. This month, we're doing jazz on Mbira. Oh, how I'd love to have you at Alliance Française tomorrow from 7. And we'll be skating and jazzing and swinging everything.
Hope, the wonderful, vibrant vibe that you bring is absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
and I hope that tomorrow people are able to turn out in their multitudes. So that
they will, because Candice will be there.
I will be there. I will be certainly enjoying it. But thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us this morning. Of course, that is Hope Masike Mbira. I mean, what more can I say?